What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Sunday, January 14th, 2024, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now, it is 9 p.m. Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from the Middle East and from Europe. So, Britain is going to be deploying as many as 20,000 troops to Eastern Europe, and Germany's army is reportedly making preparations for a potential Russian attack. We have a U.S. aircraft carrier that's going to be going to the Western Pacific, which would be the third aircraft carrier in the Western Pacific. And this was an unscheduled deployment. The USS Theodore Roosevelt quietly deployed on Thursday to the Western Pacific. And I find the timing to be very interesting considering all the tensions on the Korean Peninsula. North Korea fired hundreds of artillery shells at South Korea over a week ago, and they're testing new missiles. They just tested an intermediate range ballistic missile last night. We also have Iranian proxies in Iraq attacking 3 American bases today in Iraq and Syria. They attacked the Erbil base in northern Iraq. They also attacked the Karab Algier base and also the Conoco patrol base in eastern Syria. So 3 American bases attacked today by Iranian proxies in Iraq and Syria. And what you're looking at here is the official document that was put out by the Islamic resistance in Iraq. They're the Iranian proxy that attacked these 3 bases using a combination of drones and missiles. And here's the actual translation. In continuation of our approach in resisting the American occupation forces in Iraq and the region, and in response to the massacres of the Zionist entity against our people in Gaza, the Mujahideen of the Islamic resistance in Iraq, by means of rockets and drones, attacked 3 bases in Iraq and Syria: the Karab Algier base, the Erbil airport base, and the Conoco base. And the Islamic resistance confirms its continuation in the destruction of enemy strongholds, okay? And you can see the date up here, okay, January the 14th. Everyone thinks because of that massive attack on Yemen that it's all over and the Houthis are done for. And no, it's actually just the beginning, guys, okay? This is just the beginning. And here we have a headline coming from USNI News. U.S. quietly deploys 3rd carrier strike group to the West Pacific Theater. Aircraft carrier USS Theodore Roosevelt, CVN 71, deployed this week from San Diego en route to the Western Pacific. Okay, guys, we're going to have 3 carrier strike groups in the Western Pacific, guys. That is absolutely insane. And here's the article from USNI News. Let me just read it to you. Aircraft carrier USS Theodore Roosevelt, CVN 71, deployed this week from San Diego with a detachment of C-2A Greyhounds from the East Coast, filling in for the grounded CV-22 Ospreys. The carrier, which completed its graduation exercise last month, left its berth at Naval Air Station North Island and steamed out of the bay on Thursday afternoon local time, according to ship spotters. The Navy did not announce the start of the deployment ahead of the carrier's departure. A defense official confirmed the deployment to USNI News on Friday. Over the next few days, the carrier will take on aircraft from Carrier Wing 11 based at Naval Air Station Lemoore, California, USNI News understands. So this is a quiet deployment, guys. They were going to deploy this thing in a few more months. They were going to send it out, but suddenly they deployed it. So something's going on here. The deployment of the Theodore Roosevelt comes as the Navy's fleet of CMV-22B carrier logistics aircraft have been grounded since December 6th, following a crash of an Air Force CV-22B off the coast of Japan. With the exception of the USS Nimitz, West Coast carriers use Ospreys as the carrier onboard delivery vehicle. Following the grounding, older C-2A Greyhounds based at Naval Air Station Norfolk, Virginia, will now support the Teddy Roosevelt. Okay, so this is huge, guys. This is absolutely huge. And the Teddy Roosevelt is assigned to Carrier Strike Group 9 and is embarked with guided missile cruiser USS Lake Erie. The carrier operated with guided missile destroyer USS John McCain and USS Halsey and USS Daniel Inouye during its workups, but the current makeup of the carrier's escorts is unclear. The Teddy Roosevelt and its escorts will follow the Vinson Carrier Strike Group, which deployed to the Western Pacific in October. As of Thursday, Vinson was in the Philippine Sea. Okay, so we have three. We actually have two carrier strike groups in the Western Pacific. So we have the Ronald Reagan Carrier Strike Group in Japan. We have the Nimitz Carrier Strike Group off the coast of South Korea right now. And we have the Carl Vinson and the Teddy Roosevelt both going to the Western Pacific. So that's actually 4 carrier strike groups in the Pacific, guys, in the Western Pacific. That is insane, okay? Want to just read to you some of this information about Britain deploying 20,000 troops to Eastern Europe, UK to deploy 20,000 troops alongside NATO allies in major show of strength. Grant Shapps will today set out his vision for deterring threats, leading among allies and defending the UK as the foundations of the world order are being shaken to their core. Grant Shapps is the defense minister in Britain. Britain is sending a task force of 20,000 to take part in the biggest NATO exercise since the Cold War, which aims to make the alliance battle-ready at an increasingly dangerous time with conflicts raging in the Middle East and Ukraine. Okay, so the biggest NATO exercise since the Cold War, and actually this is the largest mobilization of British troops in over 40 years. Okay, in over 40 years, Britain has not sent this many troops anywhere. Okay, in over 40 years, guys. 20,000 troops going to Eastern Europe. And it's not just the troops, they're also sending F-35s, all kinds of different stuff, warships, different types of aircraft. The UK contingent from the Army, Royal Navy, and the Royal Air Force will provide almost half of the 41,000 service personnel which will take part in Operation Steadfast Defender, which will have a multinational deployment of up to 50 warships and dozens of aircraft carrying out 700 air combat missions. What's weird is they call it an air combat mission. If it's just training, why are they calling it a combat mission? So I don't know if, Russia and NATO are going to go at it this coming spring, but apparently these troops are going to arrive in February and they're going to stay through the springtime. Okay, 50 warships, dozens of aircraft, 700 air combat missions, 41,000 NATO personnel. The drills taking place across Germany, Poland, and the Baltics on NATO's 75th year are part of an urgent push for NATO to change from essentially a crisis response to full combat stance at short notice. The war games using real-time geographical data to create more realistic scenarios for troops will be aimed at countering an enemy coalition led by Russia, named Caucasus for the occasion, carrying out aggression against member states. But it will also be partly focused on dealing with hostile armed militias and terror groups which threaten the alliance interests internationally. It's interesting that the drills are going to take place in Poland and the Baltics, guys. Okay, I've been warning you about that region for the last few months. Defense Secretary Grant Shapps will warn that Britain's adversaries are busily rebuilding their barriers and old enemies are being reanimated. A U.S.-led coalition is at present engaged in military action against the Houthis in Yemen, with the U.S. and U.K. carrying out an operation. Although NATO is not part of the mission, a number of member states are involved, and the exercise, it is believed, will help hone interoperability, as well as 31 member states. Sweden, whose bid to join is yet to be ratified by Turkey and Hungary, will be taking part in the exercise. 31 member states and Sweden, guys. Massive, okay? The defense secretary is due to say, "We are in a new era and we must be prepared to deter our enemies, prepared to lead our allies, and prepared to defend our nation whenever the call comes." And this comes right after the UK and the Ukraine signed a defense pact, okay, where the UK is basically going to guarantee Ukraine's security. Okay, this was just this past week they signed a deal, okay, and a £2.5 billion military aid package is going to Ukraine from Britain. Today, our adversaries are busily rebuilding their barriers. Old enemies are reanimated. Battle lines are being redrawn. The tanks are literally on Ukraine's lawn, and the foundations of the world order are being shaken to their core. We stand at a crossroads. I can announce that UK will be sending some 20,000 personnel to take part in Exercise Steadfast Defender. It will see our military joining forces with counterparts from 30 NATO countries plus Sweden, providing vital assurance against the Putin menace. The Royal Navy contribution is of 8 warships and submarines and more than 2,000 sailors, including a Queen Elizabeth-class aircraft carrier with F-35 Lightning jets, as well as helicopters, escort frigates, and destroyers. Guys, this is insane. Okay, 20,000 personnel plus 8 warships and 8 submarines, 2,000 sailors, and a British aircraft carrier. I believe Britain only has 2 aircraft carriers, or maybe 1. So for them to send an aircraft carrier full of F-35s is huge, okay? Escort frigates and destroyers, basically an entire British aircraft carrier strike group with F-35s, okay? This is huge, guys. In addition, more than 400 Royal Marines commandos will be deployed to the Arctic Circle, to the core of an allied amphibious task group designed to land and defend the alliance in the high north, where both Russia and China are making forays. Around 16,000 troops from the Army will be based across Eastern Europe from February to June 2024, with them tanks, artillery, helicopters, and airborne and special operations forces. The Royal Air Force will supply F-35B Lightning attack jets and P-8 Poseidon surveillance aircraft, which will take part in simulated conflict scenarios against enemy fighters, missiles, and drones. This is crazy, guys. Absolutely insane. Massive amount of equipment, okay? Massive exercise. So things are really escalating, and I reported in my update earlier today that Estonia was strongly considering mining their border with Russia, and they already put anti-tank obstacles a while ago. And Finland is continuing their border closure with Russia. They've closed their entire border with Russia, and Finland is also considering fortifying their border even more. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, they have brought back their 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you got to go to preparewithnYprepper.com. The link is in the description below this video. But this 3-month emergency food supply is freeze-dried, so it has a 25-year shelf life, and it's all contained within 6 rugged, water-resistant buckets, and free shipping is included. So again, use the link preparewithnYprepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply. It's really a no-brainer. 25-year shelf life. You don't have to worry about your food preps going bad. You don't have to worry about rotating anything. And it's all contained within 6 buckets. So you can find the space to store 6 buckets, guys. And they also have a general store. If you click on the My Patriot Supply logo at the top of the page when you get to preparewithnyprepper.com, you can access their general store, and they have all kinds of prepping and survival items for sale. They have MREs, they have survival seeds, they have potassium iodide, they have survival bars. So check it out. Preparewithnyprepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply, and the link is in the description below this video. So tensions are ratcheting up, guys, and Germany's army is reportedly making preparations for a potential Russian attack, with plans suggesting tens of thousands of German soldiers could be deployed. This information is based on a classified document obtained by the Bild newspaper. Okay, so the German Bild newspaper is reporting that Germany's army is making secret preparations for a potential Russian attack. So they obviously know something that we don't know. This is why NATO has been sending all these AWACS planes and sub-hunter planes and recon planes into the Baltic region the last few months, really the last 2 years, but the last few months they've really picked it up, flying around Kaliningrad, flying up into Estonia along the Russian border there. So I don't know if Russia's planning a surprise attack this year. I really wouldn't be surprised, because with the possible change of U.S. presidents, Putin may decide that now's the time to make his move on NATO and go after the Baltic countries, or maybe to try to create a corridor to Kaliningrad, a land bridge to Kaliningrad from Belarus. He could figure that this is his chance, okay? Because if, let's say, a tougher president gets elected like Nikki Haley, DeSantis, or Trump, any one of them are going to be tougher on Putin than Biden was, okay? And so he may figure, now might be my last chance to do this. So we have to wait and see, guys. But this is definitely not a good sign. And remember, like a month ago, I did an update and I was sharing some information with you from Denmark that the Danish defense minister was telling people that they have to be prepared for a possible war with Russia, and that Danish citizens need to get into a wartime mentality, and they need to start stockpiling emergency supplies. Okay, that was like a month or two ago. Okay, the Danish defense minister, very concerning, guys. And we have this explosion that occurred in Kursk in Russia. Nobody knows what caused it. Maybe it was a Ukrainian drone, but I want to just play this for you. You can see the date at the top left corner, January the 15th. Looks like 1 a.m. Russia time. So let's just listen to this. It's pretty substantial. Looks like 2 explosions back to back. So this is crazy, guys. Okay, Ukraine is getting more and more bold. They're starting to attack Russian territory, and the Russian government has been evacuating people out of Belgorod. Belgorod is the Russian city just a few miles from the Ukrainian border. They've been evacuating people. They evacuated children. They started putting up sandbags everywhere and concrete barriers. So I don't know if Russia is preparing for an invasion from Ukraine. I don't know, guys, but you don't put sandbags everywhere and you don't evacuate your people unless you're expecting your city to turn into a war zone, okay? And we do know that Russia has been concentrating at least 20,000 troops near Kharkiv, okay, in southwestern Russia, close to the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv, and they could try to make another move on Kharkiv and that part of Ukraine to try to take it back. And maybe they're expecting a massive counterattack from Ukraine, so that's why they're evacuating Belgorod. We'll have to wait and see, guys. But very strange. And apparently, a Russian AWACS plane was shot down over the Sea of Azov today. And there's conflicting information about who shot it down. Some people are saying that it was Russia that shot down their own plane. Some people were saying that it was the Ukrainian military that shot it down. But Russia doesn't have too many of these guys. These are their AWACS plane. Okay, that's their radar plane, very similar to our E-3 Sentries. So if it's true that Ukraine took this down, that would be a huge loss for Russia. These planes are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. They have very advanced sensors on them. And like I said, Russia doesn't have too many of them. And on Wednesday, there's going to be a meeting at the World Economic Forum on preparing for disease X. Okay, let me read to you what they say about this disease. With fresh warnings from the World Health Organization that an unknown disease X could result in 20 times more fatalities than the recent disease pandemic, what novel efforts are needed to prepare healthcare systems for the multiple challenges ahead. Okay, and we have the Director General of the World Health Organization there. So this is pretty interesting, guys. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but maybe they know something that we don't. And according to U.S. defense officials, the joint missile and airstrikes on western Yemen earlier this week by the United States and Britain have caused damage to the Houthis' capability to launch large-scale attacks using cruise and ballistic missiles, as well as surface and aerial drones against ships in the Red Sea. However, it is believed that within roughly 2 weeks, the Houthis will have reconstituted their forces and will continue significant attacks on both Israel and commercial shipping, with only 25% of their offensive capabilities said to have been destroyed and or seriously damaged. Okay, so only 25% of their capabilities have been destroyed, guys, and it's only going to take them 2 weeks to reconstitute. So the U.S. might have to launch another operation soon. It's only going to escalate, guys. It's only going to escalate. I'm very concerned about attacks here at home, okay? Cyber attacks that could take out our power, that could mess with our infrastructure. I'm worried about terror attacks, okay? Right before Christmas, the FBI, the DHS, and the National Counterterrorism Center put out a joint statement warning people that the chances of terror attacks here in the U.S. is very high, the highest since before 9/11, and the chances of an attack are only going to increase as the war in the Middle East escalates, and it's going to escalate, guys, okay? And I reported yesterday, in case you missed my update last night, the notification didn't go out for that one, but check out my update from last night. The Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, said that his main goal is to make sure Iran doesn't get nuclear weapons. So Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, they're just kind of like a minor thing. They're a small fish, okay? Netanyahu is focusing on the big fish, which is Iran, and Netanyahu's getting older, okay? He knows that he's running out of time, and he wants to make a big change in the region by denuclearizing Iran, demilitarizing them, removing that threat to Israel. He wants a legacy, guys, okay? I think Netanyahu's over 70 years old, all right? So, time is running out for him to leave his legacy, leave his mark, and to accomplish his real goals, which is to strike Iran, okay? That's his real goal. So get prepared, guys. I think we could see all these different fronts just open up all at the same time. I think we could see Russia and NATO going to war over the Baltics this coming spring and summer. I think we could see Israel and the U.S. launching a massive operation on Iran also this year, because Iran has been tripling their enriched uranium production. Okay, and Israel knows that the clock is ticking. They're not going to wait another 2, 3, 4 years before they deal with Iran. Now is the time to deal with Iran, okay, because the window of opportunity is quickly closing, okay? North Korea might attack South Korea this year. China might attack Taiwan, okay? We have that new pro-independence candidate that just became president in Taiwan. So this is very concerning, guys. Okay, get prepared. If there's ever a time to be prepared, it's now. Okay, things are only going to go downhill. If you read your Bible, if you're a Christian, you know that we are in the end times and things are just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse until Jesus Christ returns. Okay, so don't put your faith in some presidential candidate. Okay, don't put your faith in a man. Don't make a false idol of a man. Idolize Jesus Christ. Okay, he's the only one that's going to save us, not some presidential candidate. Okay. And the Yemen foreign minister said that the Houthis are exploiting sympathy for Palestine and they're targeting ships that are trying to go through the Red Sea to deliver goods to Gaza. Very interesting. And the Israeli army said that they attacked Hezbollah's infrastructure and command centers earlier today in southern Lebanon. And Turkey launched another attack on Kurds today in northern Syria, destroying some gas stations and targeting their positions with drones and missiles. And the North Korean Foreign Minister Cho Son-hui is scheduled to visit Russia starting tomorrow until January the 17th. So that's very interesting. Okay, North Korean Foreign Minister going to Russia through Wednesday. And I want to share this post from the Oxford Police Department in Oxford, Mississippi. They're saying that the 101st Airborne is going to be conducting a large-scale training exercise that's going to involve up to 70 helicopters around Oxford, Mississippi, okay? So I don't know what they're training for, but it sounds like they're training for urban warfare, guys, okay? The 101st Airborne is an air assault part of our military. That's what they specialize in. They're an airborne unit, and they're going to be fast roping out of helicopters, I guess. 70 helicopters, guys. Okay, so I don't know if this is preparation for the election, for domestic issues, if we have total chaos during the election this year, okay, like all cities just, erupting in riots and total chaos, or is this training for war in Europe? I don't know, guys. We have this Arctic blast that is crippling the country right now. We have crazy wind chills, crazy temperatures, extremely cold temperatures in Iowa, Nebraska. You can see here on this map, all these areas shaded in light blue and dark blue are wind chill advisories. And then down in the southern states, we have a winter storm warning from southern West Virginia all the way down to northeastern Texas. And this area is supposed to get up to 8 inches of snow. Absolutely crazy, guys. We have winter weather advisories all the way down to the Louisiana Gulf Coast. Okay. So Arctic air is making its way into the lower 48. Here we have the current temperatures. You can see Omaha, Nebraska, minus 17, Des Moines, Iowa, minus 17, Sioux Falls, minus 15, Great Falls, Montana, minus 17. It seems like the Midwest is really getting hit the hardest with this one. And then the eastern states, not super duper cold. I mean, single digits, teens, 20s. That's not too unusual. But really, the Midwest and the upper Midwest are really feeling this one. And it's supposed to last all week. And then there's going to be a fresh outbreak of Arctic air next weekend that's going to rejuvenate this cold. Okay, so the cold is not going away anytime soon. Make sure you have your winter survival kit in your vehicle. You should have a wool blanket, warm boots, hat, gloves, warm jacket in your vehicle at all times. I like to keep recovery boards in my vehicle in case I get stuck and there's no one to pull me out of a ditch or something. I can slide those boards under my wheels and drive up on those boards. Okay, they're just traction boards essentially. So keep some recovery boards in your vehicle. And keep some snacks and water as well, okay? Because if you're in a situation where you're stranded in your vehicle on the side of the road, if you have snacks, it'll keep your body temperature up. And we currently have a massive eruption underway in Iceland, just north of the town of Grindavik. I'm going to keep an eye on this for you. And here we have the German farmers protesting in Germany. Okay, they're still protesting. Let me show you this video. It's pretty insane. A massive amount of tractors here. Look at this, guys. Absolutely insane. They're protesting the leftist government in Germany because they want to increase taxes on diesel fuel. So, crazy situation over there in Germany. And we have as many as 13 sunspots facing Earth right now. And one of these sunspots has a delta magnetic field, which means that it is unstable and it could produce a solar flare. So we have to keep an eye on these sunspots. I'm going to keep an eye on them for you. And if there's any solar flare, I will let you know. But that's the latest breaking news that I have, guys. I will be back tomorrow with more updates. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell icon below so you get notified anytime I post these updates. And until tomorrow, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.